Happy International Water Day to everyone listening and following us. We are super excited to have in our midst a very distinguished guest, and her name is Mrs. Ibiyinka Amokeodo. Mrs. Ibiyinka Amokeodo is a PhD candidate in environmental health sciences at the University of Maryland, College Park, United States of America. And our work encompasses initiatives like AquaSafe, which is aimed at empowering agricultural communities in Tanzania. And she's also the founder of Project 17, which is an initiative dedicated to promoting sustainable development goals of the United Nations. And during this interview, Ms. Ibiyinka will be providing us with her contributions to water quality research and our current effort in promoting sustainable development in the water sector. And would also be sharing with us our educational journey, our research endeavors, and our contributions to global water safety and sustainability. We are very excited to have Ms. Ibiyinka in our midst.
Thank you so much for having me, Nasi. I'm excited to be here and answer any of your questions and also give insight on what my work is about and how I promote water quality. So yeah, happy World Water Day to everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Ms. Ibiyinka, can you please provide us with an overview of your educational and professional background, highlighting the very pivotal moments that led you to specialize in water quality research?
Okay, thank you so much, Style, for that question. Just as you mentioned in my bio, I'm currently a PhD candidate specializing in environmental health and water quality. And I'm at the University of Maryland College Park. I would say that my journey began with a strong foundation in food safety. I had studied food science and technology for my bachelor's degree back home in Nigeria from Bowen University. And through my journey there, I fell in love with food safety. So I felt like that led me to the next step in my career. So after food safety, I wanted to go ahead to get my master's degree. And then the question came, what do you want to do? You know, and I didn't like the other aspect of food, I must say that. I wasn't a fan of food production, and I just wanted to do something that encompasses food safety. So that was how I also myself doing public health. So I had gotten a master's degree in public health. And when the time for me to apply for my PhD came, the question became, what do you want to do next? And that was when I applied to study environmental health science because it encompasses both food and water. And there is no food without water. So I would say that was the moment where I decided to specialize in water quality research. Also because my advisor, who I work with right now, does most of our research in water quality, and it is very, very, very interesting research. So yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Ibiyinka, for that response. What motivated you to concentrate your doctoral studies on water quality and safety with a particular emphasis on agricultural environment, right? So what made you want to focus your streamline your research in this area?
Yeah. As I mentioned earlier, my background is in food, so I'm loyal to food safety. So, and in order to, also combat food safety, agriculture is really, really very important because irrigation water is one of the things that you need to grow your food. And we all know that, or if you don't know, irrigation water can introduce harmful contaminants into the food chain. So this is why I was interested in, streamlining my study with emphasis on agricultural environment as well.
Wow, that's really so interesting to know. Thank you for that wonderful response. Current research actually involves assessing microbial and chemical quality of irrigation water. Can you elaborate more on this work and its potential public health implications?
Yeah, that's right. My research currently examines the presence of pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics, and microbial contaminants in both surface and also groundwater sources that are being used for irrigation here in Mbeya, Tanzania, in East Africa region of the world. And basically, by assessing both seasonal variations and also the environmental factors that are affecting water quality, my work, my research, or this project that we're doing aims to identify contamination hotspots, and we also want to be able to inform risk mitigation strategies. We want to be able to understand what exactly is in the water that is being used to farm, and also our findings will be able to inform the government policies that are available. That is, if we have anyone available. Currently, there are no government policies that covers this area that I'm working. I wouldn't say in the whole of Tanzania, but I haven't seen anyone that covers or governs in Beira, Tanzania. So this research would definitely support policies in order to promote sustainable water management and also agricultural best practices in general.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. And I just wanted to add a sideline question to this. So, I said we are focusing on chemical and microbial contaminant, right? Aside from your research, are there any other research going on within Mbeya or within that region that is also looking into the water safety and the water quality of irrigation water used by these farmers in the community?
Yeah. To date, there are no known research going on or that have been carried out previously by anyone. So our project would be the first of its kind here in Mbeya, Tanzania. And it's interesting to know that Mbeya is the number three region in Tanzania that's with the agricultural profession. So I would say that almost 70% of people living in Mbeya are farmers. So they heavily use water. So it is quite shameful that no one has ever thought to research on the irrigation water quality. And I'm excited that our project is going to be able to answer some of this question and also fill in the research gap that are currently, happening.
Thank you very much. I wanted to ask a follow-up question to that because this is really so interesting to learn. And what do you think could be the reason behind people not interested in knowing the water quality or what they are using to irrigate their product
Okay.
based on your experience so far in that
I
region?
would I would say education is number one. People here aren't privileged to information about the best agricultural practices. So I think for them, that is why they are not doing anything to ensure that their water is safe for agriculture. But while speaking for every other person, I don't know why no one is interested in doing this research. I know that research costs money, so the government might not have enough funding to look at this in all regions. I know that places in Arusha, farmers in Arusha and Dar es Salaam, there are studies over there, but not just in Mbeya. I mean, it could be also lack of funding. But I would say that for the farmers here, it is mostly lack of information and also lack of educational resources for them to know what is right to do.
Thank you for that insightful responses. So you are the founder of AquaSafe, an initiative that is aimed at empowering agricultural communities in Tanzania, and it's aimed to provide affordable water testing kits and education on water quality management. So could you briefly discuss what motivated you to start AquaSafe? What are the objectives of AquaSafe and what impact has it made or do you intend to make on local farmers in these communities?
Yeah. So Hacksafe was born out of me seeing for 3 months being on the field, working, collecting water samples, interacting with farmers, and getting to know that the reason why they aren't taking actions is because of the lack of practices, lack of knowledge of agricultural practices. So yeah, that was how Aquasafe was born. I was able to decipher the urgent need for accessible water testing and also some management tools for these smallholder farmers as well. Our goal is to not only distribute water test kits, but also to ensure that the farmers have all the knowledge they have and they know the reason why it is important for them to test their water regularly, the impact it has on their health, and also on the general populace health, through eating some of those food that is being cultured from their farms. By equipping the communities, with this knowledge, ultimately we're going to be able to empower the farmers to make informed decisions about water use. And also this would improve their crop safety and public health in general. We intend to equip them with more knowledge and information. We've had a one session with them in partnership with the Global Steward from the UMD who traveled year in Tanzania. They were able to meet with some farmers and discuss some of the importance of water quality. And in the next few months, we're looking to also have formal workshops with these farmers. We're targeting about 100 farmers for a start to equip them with the knowledge, information that they need to, to ensure that their irrigation water is safe for agriculture.
Thank you very much for that elaboration. Going outside of AquaSafe and what you're doing currently, how do you foresee the evolution of sustainable agricultural practices concerning water quality management in regions like Tanzania? You've been there for at least some few months now, and so you're on ground, you see what exactly is going on.
Yeah. One thing I would love to say is that for Tanzanians, I believe that they are always willing to learn and they always want to, acquire, they want to learn more about how to do something, how to do the good thing. I think policy-driven initiatives, capacity building programs would play a very crucial role in ensuring that, farmers integrate good agricultural practices, also water conservation and prevention of pollution strategies into their day-to-day operation. I think with that, there would be a greater and better water quality management. I think it's doable, the
Yeah.
right instruments.
Exactly, with the right instrument, with the right government support, NGO support, and even support from research institutions. That's doable. Throughout your endeavor to enhance water quality and water safety, what are the significant challenges that you have encountered and what strategies have you employed to overcome these challenges?
I would say one major challenge would be limited awareness. Like I said, sometimes the farmers are like, why do I need to test my water? Because they do not understand the importance. So limited awareness on the importance of water quality and also access to affordable water testing kits. Finance is a bigger issue here. In as much as my group wants to do something, we want to do something nice. We want them to be able to test their water regularly, but unfortunately, that costs money. And some of the things we've done is to apply for grants, whereby we can, that can also help in bringing in money for us to support them. And also, we're ensuring that we want to translate my scientific finding into practical intervention. For instance, we are going to also inform policy changes by the government so that they can also buy into and key into this project that we're doing so that they understand that it is very important for them to fund and to put their money into programs like this. So those are some of the things we think we can overcome some of our challenges right now.
So how easy has it been for you doing your research in Bayer, right? What are some of the challenges you faced? How easy it is to do like water quality research in this area in terms of even access to equipment, materials, and all of that?
I would say generally everyone knows that once you're leaving your comfort zone, going into another area to work, it's not going to be easy. And international, especially for international projects, it's never going to be easy. There's always going to be stumbling blocks. Some of the things I've personally experienced would be materials. We're unable to get most of the materials that we need. So last year, I spent 1 month searching and looking for materials to use, even though looking as far as even neighboring countries to be able to see if we can get in these materials. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that. We had to ship some of those things from the US or from the UK, which has also costed us a lot of money in terms of clearing of these shipments at the border, which is also a very big issue here in Tanzania in terms of like shipping things. It's not really it's not an easy process for you to ship material in. So that is like one main issue that I faced. Another one I would say is language barrier. In as much as I mean, well, coming to Tanzania to fill in this research gap, sometimes I have experienced restrictions because I did not understand the language, they did not understand what I'm speaking. So most times I would always have to be with either my interns or people who also work in the university who are able to translate what I'm saying and what they are saying to each other. So that is also language barrier is one of the biggest challenges that I've encountered as well. And also generally not being in my house. Not being I don't think I think we shouldn't take that lightly, and we shouldn't take that for granted that you're away from your comfort zone for 2, 3 months. That also is a challenge.
As we were saying that, it reminds me that as researchers, we actually pay a lot of price, especially when it comes to
Mhm.
international research in getting these findings done. It's a lot of sacrifice, not just only in terms of the costs, but even on our personal lives. Thank you very much, B, for paying the price. I wanted to ask this question so you could throw more light on it. In your perspective, what are the most urgent issues in water security today? And how can initiatives like AquaSafe help to address this pressing water security issues?
I would say the key, water security challenges would include pollution, water pollution from agricultural runoff. So some of the chemical, herbicide, pesticides contamination in water comes from agricultural runoff. We would also have climate change induced water scarcity. Some regions are currently experiencing water scarcity for their agriculture. And also the increasing prevalence of antimicrobial resistance. That is a big issue, right now. That's I think the world needs to address. So initiative like mine, AquaSafe, can help promote localized water monitoring, just as we're planning to do. We can also foster community-driven solutions, whereby these solutions are from, they're initiated by the farmers themselves, so they are able to see it through and it is sustainable. And also strengthening collaborations between researchers, policymakers, and local communities. It is not one fits all. So the researchers only cannot do the job. I cannot only do the job. Even after all of this, doing all this research and finding what the problem is, in order to be able to seek a solution, or to also invest in a solution, we need the communities themselves to agree on it. So a lot of time, in order for us to combat these challenges, we need community driven initiative, community driven solutions. How we can address this would be first education, education. Even if you come with all of the solutions that you think, or the technology that you think, and these farmers do not have the information they need, or the education, the basic education, they need to understand the importance of what is going on, and increasing prevalence of antimicrobial resistance, for instance, how it affects their health, their personal health, and also the health of the crops. Like, they're not going to do anything. So I think what our initiative is doing in terms of like creating awareness around water quality issues would help combat some of these issues in the nearest future.
Thank you for that insightful response. It's such an engaging moment. Young professionals like yourself, what opportunities exist for them? And those aspiring to build their careers in the water sector, what are some of the guidance you could offer them based on your experience? For
Before I answer that, I would say that personally, I didn't even know there was a water industry, like a separate industry entirely for water, until I started in my journey as a PhD student. Even when I started my PhD, I didn't realize how the water industry is big and what other opportunities are there for us, until I attended a conference that changed my perspective about the water industry. I would say that for young people who are, aspiring to build their careers, they have so much opportunities in the water industry. You could do research like what I'm currently doing. You could also engage in policy making. You could also be a water engineer. You could also be a community officer. One thing I love about the water industry is that it's an interdisciplinary collaboration. It is not just one person cannot do the work. So there are lots and lots and lots of people who make up a solution. All those people also have their own niche, their own creativity, their own career that you can go through. I would say how to maximize your, your career would be to network. Like I said, I didn't know any of this until I went to a conference where it allowed me to network with people in the industry and to learn about the different sectors and different works that they are doing. So you need to network with the experts. You also need to participate in global initiatives. Now, there are a lot of global initiatives on water that you can be a member of, and you also need to develop technical skills. You need to develop, a lot of the data driven skills that are being needed for you to succeed, because water is a very complicated thing to measure. It's very difficult to also measure water quality, in as much as we try our best as researchers to do that. So you need to be equipped with these technical skills as well. These are some of the ways you can enhance your career in the water industry.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate all these great insights that you're giving us. And I do hope that our future young water experts are learning from this. And as we round up, as we observe the World Water Day 2025, what message would you like to convey regarding global water issues and the importance of collective actions? I've already mentioned some of these areas, but I don't know if you have other things you would like to add to this.
Firstly, I want to say water is a fundamental human right. But guess what? Billions of people still lack access to safe water.
Mm.
Be it safe water to drink, safe water for agriculture, safe water for recreation. A lot of people still, lack access to that. So addressing global water challenges requires collective action. It's not only one person. It's from policymakers enforcing sustainable regulations to communities, and also adopting responsible water practices. So yeah, it is. I would just like to tell everyone that it is all our duty to protect our water and ensure that we all have access to safe water. And that is my message for everyone today.
Thank you, Miss Ibiyinka. You're also the founder of Project 17, and it's focused on raising awareness among young people about the Sustainable Development Goals. I want you to elaborate, how does some of these goals relate to water safety and access, and what role does Project 17 play in advancing these objectives?
Project 17 aligns closely with SDG 6, which is the Sustainable Development Goal 6, and that is the clean water and sanitation, and also SDG 3, which is good health and well being. And we do this by advocating for water safety, hygiene, and sustainable resource management. We've done this through outreach programs and will continue to do it. We've also done educational campaigns. We've also held stakeholders collaborations. We've collaborated with local government and state governments in Nigeria, where Project 17 is home to, and we've raised awareness in communities to adopt water conservation and safety measures. We've also done a lot of cleanups of recreation water centers, like cleanup of the beach and places like that. Project 17 in general plays a critical role in bridging policy and grassroots action. So we want to ensure that the sustainable development principles would translate to a meaningful change. We just don't want to hear the big word STG. We want a meaningful change, and that is what we're working towards at Project 17. Thank you.
This was absolutely amazing, insightful. I've really learned a lot from this short time I spent with you. Thank you very much for taking our time to be here. We appreciate all the work you are doing, and we do hope that our youth are also learning and they would also follow in your steps and even do better. This brings us to the end of the interview. Happy with International Water Day once again. And just like Ibiyinka said, water is a basic human right. So join the advocacy in advocating for clean water and safe water so that we can all be healthy together.